Well, fellas, I guess it's time. 2 days away from Birmingham here, recording this on Tuesday. Look, I tried to do my homework on this one, so I want to make this worth it for you guys. I got 3 pages of notes and stats here. Let's dive in. Before we do, shout out to Cody on Twitter. His information is going to be down below. Him and a couple of people are the team responsible for putting this predictions sheet together here for us. Huge service, fun exercise. Let's not waste too much time and dive right in. Our first round matchups. Let's start with Carmine Core and Wildcard. Look, this Wildcard team, 23-3 on the season, 7-1 in the playoffs. The only loss was to Scrims World and Open 2, where they had a really poor event. This Wildcard team is good, and they are number one out of our 16 teams here coming in demos per game, which I think is going to help them against some teams. But against Carmine Core here, who spread it wide, are fast, and also get a lot of demos themselves. They're winning 80% of their games on the season here. This wildcard team is going to be dangerous, but I think Carmine Core are just going to run them over. NRG and Gen G, I have them playing close. And any team I have going 5, the way I'm trying to use this is if we go 5, it means I could see it going either way. Like, what are the odds that this is an upset? You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way that I am playing this in a sense. NRG are a team that starts slow. They do not have a good win percentage in their game ones. And they're also a team that starts slow when we're talking about overall Swiss and things like that. Gen G, on the other hand, coming in with a ton of momentum, right? And the thing that I worry about in this matchup, while the goal differential and the shot differential have actually been pretty close here, NRG have been out shooting everybody, but they only have a +10 shot differential on Gen G. So Gen G are getting their looks and putting up numbers here against this NRG team. But if we look at the game differential, 2-6 in favor of NRG. So Gen G have played a lot of people close. They've been an excellent team in Swiss, and I anticipate that they could look pretty good here as well. But in this matchup, at the end of the day, I just got to give the edge to NRG, who have really had their number so far here. 9-1 against our LAN opponents from North America are NRG. Falcons 3-0 over Secret. The Secret team's good. They're winning 67% of their games here, and their big losses have been to Furia. So is everybody in South America. But this Falcons team, 5th in goals for, 7th in goals allowed. And the only edge they don't really have is in demos when we're talking about them versus Secret. So maybe Secret can muck this up and try and keep these low scoring. But this Falcons team have a lot to prove here. And I just don't think that Secret are going to be the team who are going to give them fits. You know, maybe I will change this to a 3-1 just because, you know, maybe Secret can find some magic here early, punch him in the mouth. But I think this Falcons team are going to kind of run them over from a scoring perspective. And one last point here, this is Swift's debut. So, you know, maybe there's a little bit of time to shake off those nerves there, and I don't think Falcons are the team to really shake them off against Twisted Minds Vitality. I have Twisted Minds winning this. Look, I went back and forth. I think Vitality have one of the better chances out of our field to win this whole event, but I think they're coming in with a little bit of nerves. Rise, of course, has played with some pieces of this former BDS roster here. And I just think Twisted Minds, are going to come in with a little bit of that, like, nobody believes in us. We're going to boss these teams around. They've won 74% of their games. Twisted Minds, that is. And again, we talked about it, like Vitality. They're 21-9 on the season, which is not excellent. And even if we go overtime here, on some of these games, which I think these might be close, that's going to favor Twisted Minds. Really, if I can tail of the tape here, This is going to be a track meet between both of these teams. They both love to play up and down, get a lot of shots, bleed a lot of goals, and I just think it's going to be close. I think Twisted Minds, that's the style that they want to play. Like against a team like Carmine Core, maybe it's a little bit more of a challenge. Um, I just this is the fourth time I've done this projection, and I've split this both ways. And every time, this is 5 games. It's the hardest one out of these original 8 seeding matches here for me to kind of get together. So that's my thoughts. I could be wrong. Furia Chiefs. Look, Furia undefeated on the season in South America. Chiefs are a fun team. I like Fiber. I like Hunter. Razier's highly ranked in the twos leaderboards coming in here, so putting in the hours. I just don't think this is a matchup for Chiefs. I don't really have too much to say about this one. This Furia team have looked excellent, and they've already played 1,300 ranked twos matches in this season 18 here. They're coming in with a lot of momentum. They're a team who always look really good in Swiss. Dignitas Complexity. Those are 2 teams that are not shooting a lot and are not giving up a lot of shots or goals. These are teams that both like to play down tempo. Complexity is a very specific breed of that, where you even look at something like their assist percentage. They're the lowest out of our 16 teams. They're also the lowest out of goals, 4 out of our 16 teams here. The only team with a negative shot differential. So this team is really about midfield pops, trying to find outplays, playing really smart and safe, and just looking for a goal or two to kind of break these teams down. Dignitas is doing the same thing. They're 15th in goals for, 16th in goals allowed. So this is a team that is playing it really, really tight as well. And, for me, I think game 1 is going to be really important. And furthermore, whoever scores first in these games, because both of these teams have a really, really good record when they're scoring first in their games, which makes sense given the style that they're trying to play. I'm just going to give the edge here to Dignitas, who are coming in with higher expectations, have looked a little better here. What are their records against our land teams? Dignitas are 1-5 against land teams, which is not very good, especially when some of those wins are Carmine Core, and their big wins have been against Ninjas in Pajamas there. But Complexity 3-5 against our land teams here. Some of those good wins have been against Genji and a couple against one against Ultimates as well. So yeah, I'm giving the edge here. But look, this Complexity team has been boot camping all season long, and maybe they come out and win this one here. I would not be surprised. Ultimates, I have them giving a game to Luminosity. Look, the chances of Luminosity winning this are infinitesimally small. But I have my worries about Ultimates. GK 3-0 over Foot. Let's move on to our second round here, so I don't make this into a 45-minute video that we're probably inevitably careening into anyways here. And I haven't mapped these out, so now we're kind of getting into this live. We'll try and use our stats and not go through much. What are some easy ones we can get off the board here? I think this matchup, Vitality is just going to run this Foot team over. Foot here, really high assist percentage. Them and Vitality both at 84, which is our highest assist percentage. So really, really connective with one another. But I just think this Vitality team, who are in the top half here of goals for, and in the positive top half on goals allowed, I just think they're going to run Foot over. Wildcard Luminosity, that's a fun one. Genji Complexity, another fun one. Gosh, are any of these easy? I think this one, even though this GK team could come in here and look really good, I'm going to give the edge to NRG. Excuse me, I got some stuff on my keyboard, and I really gave myself some fits here, didn't I? Let's go ahead and 3-1 this one for wild card. I know we're going to talk about some of these teams fast, so I'm trying to make this a little bit of a more expeditious round here. This really fun matchup. I think Chiefs could come out and look good here. What does our board tell us that we should be looking into? Team Secret 23-5 on the season. Chiefs 22-4. They're 5-4 once they get into the playoffs. The big thing for this Chiefs roster, I would say, is that their overtime win percentage is so low. So if these end up kind of going deep and we have a couple of overtimes, that really, really favors Team Secret. Maybe I'll go ahead and give them the edge with that in mind. This is probably a series that I would have picked that way anyways. Look, KV1 and Mata are no slouches. This Team Secret team probably coming in fairly to slightly underrated just because they've looked really good in a strong South America and have only really struggled with Furia. But they've played a lot of their series deep when Furia have been running things over. So just using them as a cross comparison, I think Secret are properly rated here. This is a see what we got from Swift kind of matchup in my eyes. Genji and Complexity. Let's give a shout out to Direct here as we look into some of his sheets. And I'm curious, what is this matchup record? Genji are 5-0 when they score first against Complexity, which is good to know. But what is our series score here against Complexity? They played them 1-1, 6-4 in Genji's favor. And, this is what we're talking about with Complexity. Only +3 on goals, +10 on shots. And let me just show you guys Complexity real quick because it surprised me. Although I've talked about this previously on the Shiftcast. Shameless plug. Look at the shot differential. The only of our 16 teams that are negative here, and a big part of that hemorrhage is due to the -48 that NRG is putting up on them. But also NRG are doing that to everybody with a +227 differential here. Let's get back to our sheet. Thank you very much for that, Direct. Look, this is split 1-1. Two teams that are good in Swiss. Both of these teams went to Game 5 previously. I'm going to give the edge here to Genji. Complexity up against the ropes here pretty early with two very close series. I'm sure that they're going to bounce back in our 0-2. Falcons versus Ultimates could be interesting. I'm going to give the edge to Falcons here. This one, I'm going to go Furia in a 3-1 over Dignitas, and Carmine Core versus Twisted Minds. We talked about the connective tissue that Rise has to former teammate Monkey Moon, but here against his two former teammates, this is a watch it for Carmine Core in my eyes. I think either this or the Vitality matchup will be close for them if they end up getting those. But in this case, I am going to go 3-2 Carmine Core over Twisted Minds. Carmine Core looking elite in the best region. Complexity versus Luminosity. If it goes this way, that's a real bummer. But this could be pretty close. Complexity have looked tough in high pressure situations so far this season. I think about them losing that 3-1 advantage that they had over Ultimates. And just some situations, there was a Shopify Rebellion series where they almost let Shopify come back and make it close when they already had a big advantage. I worry about this Complexity team once we get into some tight matchups. And Luminosity, I mean, they're number one in goals for and goals allowed. No shocker there, just because of the region that they're playing in. They're winning 90% of their overtimes, which is good here. But Complexity, again, like 20-5 on the season, winning 55% of their matchups. They beat the teams that they should be beating, and I think they're going to continue to do that against Luminosity here. Chiefs and Foot. It could be close. I've said it before. I'll say it again. My preparation for this Foot roster is probably going to be fairly minimal. I've watched 2 of their series so far, 2 of their grand finals. They're good, but it's in SSA, and the two series I watched were against a Limitless team. So were they both grand finals? I think they were. But in any case, like we've seen that Limitless squad struggle, and they're playing them tight. And I just think this Chiefs team is good. We again saw Fiber against the Jinji squad last season. He looks even more in form. If you guys will remember, Fiber actually got benched late last season for the coach of the Pioneers. I think that was a formative experience for him to mature and grow, and he is a striker and a half. I think Foot are going to try and muck this one up, and a lot of ground play, looking for demos and things of that nature. They are +2 in demos, which again, it's SSA, so it's tough to kind of figure things out, but we'll go 3-1 here. Our 1-1s. Man, these interregional matchups are tough to call, aren't they? This could end up being the top 4 for the whole event in my eyes, but how are we going to move through this one? Let's go ahead and give Twisted Minds the edge here. I had put up on Twitter the other day, our Wave Dash podcast came back together and did our top 25 projections. The way that I was looking at the exercise is it's the 25 players who are going to play the best based on like where the teams end up ranking as the tournament ends, not necessarily the top 25 most talented players per se. I had Rise and Naupo, doesn't matter, on my top 25, left Atomic off. Maybe this is going to be a big moment here for Atomic, who's been playing more of a third defensive role for this team. If I recall correctly, leads the team in saves per game. And I think Secret could there's a lot of South American teams who like to run and gun, get up and down. But I just think Twisted Minds have the talent advantage here. And I just think that Team Secret are going to struggle to slow this team down. It reminds me of like a Furious style. Very up-tempo, very fast, very physical. And they've struggled in that matchup so far. These two, I know that we have some information that have kind of led these up into it. And I'm not just going to do these as like a statistical vacuum here. I think this is about the stage where we try and bring in some of the factors in the tournament that have led us to this point. So Ultimate's an easy one against Luminosity, kind of a warm-up, and then they play a close one to Falcons. Meanwhile, Jinji, the interregional matchups have kind of led us here. I think that kind of favors Jinji, who are still in like the North American mindset. Look, they just came back and had that big win over Ultimates previously. This could be a revenge match here for Ultimates, but I think Jinji have played the interregionals close, and I think that this serves them well to like still be in the mindset while Ultimates are coming into a very different play style. Let's go ahead, and we know this isn't just going to be chalk. Like Ultimates are coming in as the favored team here. They're the better team. But we know that this isn't just going to be the best team wins every matchup that we get. So that seems like a fairly reasonable upset to call. And Dignitas Vitality, man, I think this is going to be a different beast here from this Vitality roster. Dignitas seem like a team that might be a little later in this game, but close win here, a loss to Furia. Vitality just ran over FUT as they should. This is going to be day 2, right? So, fresh eyes, or maybe this is still day 1. I can never remember how they do this structure. Let's actually come back to that one. I want to give it a little more thought. Carmine Core versus Furia. Going to be a powerhouse matchup, but look, I think that Carmine Core are going to look that one straight down the barrel and come out and win this one here. The thing for Carmine Core that I will say is that they really haven't been tested too much like a deep in this season. Again, we already talked about the 26-1. They're winning 79% of their games, but they're only going to overtime in 9% of their matchups, which is interesting to me. As we kind of get deeper in here, and if there's like tight ones, Carmine Corps just are not super battle tested in that way, just because they've been running teams over. It kind of reminds me of the Boston Celtics from last season, where you end up subbing out a lot of your starters at like midway through the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, just because you're beating teams so bad. And I wonder if they kind of have the battle tested nature that they will need. NRG versus Falcons. We've seen this one before as well. Look, I think Falcons kind of take these Swiss super seriously. And NRG kind of, they find their way into these tournaments. They kind of can take a minute to catch their groove. And I think that I would favor Falcons in this one for sure. GK versus Wildcard is one that we got to have a watchful eye on. GK previously lost to NRG and beat Foot. And then Wildcard got run over by Carmine and got a win over Luminosity. I think that kind of the personalities coming into this are important as well. Archie and Joyo are not very afraid of the Torsos Fever duo, like if it's duo versus duo. Banana Head, excellent striker, and the player that we haven't named yet is Oli. Look, GK could come out and like have a 3-0 Swiss here. A lot of momentum, a lot of faith in themselves. They're winning 62% of their games, which is pretty darn good. And what else could be some differentiating factors here? GK are decidedly losing the demo battle. Maybe Wildcard try and like muck this up and make it close. Both of these teams, a fifth of their games are played in overtime, and Wildcard are winning quite a few of those. You know what? Like, let's go Wildcard. This could be close. GK are definitely the favored team here. I could look very stupid for even having GK in this spot. I understand that. But let's go ahead and go there. And then let's look at some historical data real quick on Dignitas versus Vitality. Dignitas had beat them. Oh, excuse me. Scored first. So what's our series score and our game differential? Again, like really close here on the goal and shot differential for sure. They're 1-1, 5-5. This has been super close, but it's skewed a little bit by that 6-game series that we had in Open 2 where Dignitas ended up winning that. So that's 4-2 in that matchup right there. I don't know, man. I do not know. What matters to me in this matchup? Dignitas, a team that have been excellent in Swiss, but you know what? Dignitas have really struggled against our top 8. In top 8 against our land teams. 19-6, only winning 53% of their games, kind of farming some of our worst teams. I think Vitality are the better team here, so let's just call it that way. How about we? All right. Luminosity and Foot are eliminated. Carmine Corps and Falcons are through. Seems fair to me. Furia wildcard. I think that Fury are going to look at that one and think that they should have gone 3-0 anyways and beat this wildcard team pretty handily here. I don't think that NRG would probably lose 2 in a row. That's an interesting matchup up there. A former interregional here as well. Ultimates versus GK. This is super fun. Guys, this LAN is going to be so exciting. There's so many matchups that I could see going one way or another. And there's like there's the things in here where it's like we kind of don't know how who is going to show up. There's going to be some teams and players that surprise us. I just don't know. This is going to be super fun. I'm really excited for this whole LAN that we're about to get our hands on here. Um, both of these teams played really close. If GK lose this one, maybe they're kind of in a weird spot. Ultimates just lost a close one to them as well. That is a exciting matchup. And whoever loses this is eliminated, which is crazy. Team Secret versus Complexity. I feel like I can kind of wrap my head around here. I'm going to give the edge to Secret here. This just kind of might be like a gut check round. I don't know. These are so tough to call for me because I believe in all of these teams, you know. Gingy are a team that are fine going to round 5. I'm going to give the edge here to NRG. Ultimates GK. Dignitas versus Chiefs. Man. That Chiefs team is fun. But I think this is where they make their exit. And then Ultimates versus GK, man. Who are we going to eliminate here? This would be a really, really disappointing result for Ultimates, and I know that people would just look at this and see a snapshot and be like, unbelievable. But I think I gave them like a kind of a fair draw. GK2, like how have we gone so far? GK lost to NRG. They lost a close one, a wild card, which would kind of make me think like that's a crazy call from me. Maybe GK just don't have it together here. I don't think I can eliminate Ultimates that early. Although then we have them here and it's like, oh my goodness. GK bow out, Chiefs and Complexity bow out. GK in other projections that I've done here are a top 8 team, and they make it through in this round here where they go 3-1. So winning this one. So, you know, it's just like the way it goes. This is my official one that I'm posting online here, but I'm very easily talked into a lot of teams making top 8s. Oh my gosh. Gen G versus Dignitas. Jack versus Reddles for top 8. We'll have to circle back to that one. Wildcard versus Secret. If we get here, I think this is where Wildcard finally overcome it. Secret emptying the clip if we can. I don't really know how much extra I have to say about them. Winning a good bit of their overtimes. Let's keep it rolling. You know, maybe let's talk about like the players on the pitch here. This is Wildcard, or excuse me, this is Banana Head versus Swift. For me, this Wildcard team just really like to muck it up, and I think that is in their favor once we get to a matchup here against Secret. What's like their demo percentage? But at the same time, Secret are dishing it out as well. Like this is going to be a really physical and close matchup in my eyes. I'm just going to give the edge to Wildcard just because of OCE finally making a top 8. But you know the other thing though is that like Wildcard always making the top 8 and then finding themselves here, there is some inherent pressure that they will be feeling, you know. All right, Belair. If this matchup really came at this point in time, I think I'd give the edge to Secret. Like, I just think Secret are a good team. Wildcard are too. I don't know. I could stare at this all day and make this video super long. This is just how I'm feeling at 12:32 in the afternoon on Tuesday. If I did this exercise at 1:32 in the afternoon on Tuesday, who knows? Maybe Secret get eliminated here and we're having a completely different conversation. But this is just how we're drawing it up right now. Big moment here. Ultimate's Vitality. I'm going to give the edge to Vitality. Gut feel. Jorius deep in a series. Just things that are floating around my head. Stizzy versus Magic Bear. Gingy are a really up-tempo team. What's like a similar comp team to Gingy? Because I've drawn this one up before. They're a team that, let's look at like our core stats here. Our per game, they're like 2, which is actually fairly low on our per game, which I think favors Dignitas. 2.2 and 1.8. Who's like a comparable team over here? 1.8. A team like GK is pretty similar. And then GK versus Dignitas. Have they played? I don't think they have. 1-0. GK beat them. Of course, they ran them over as they went on that open 3 run in the semifinals there. I'm going to give the edge to Gingy. Yeah, I don't know. That's how we're drawing it up this time. Big exits, I think for me, Ultimates, Dignitas, and GK bouncing out is crazy. How many of our teams won our first round matchups? Did I follow our historical data here? Let's go over to our main event. Is this where that information is stored? I believe it is. No. It's over in Swiss and it's down here, right? So first round matchups, I actually have 3 teams who lost their first round matchups, making it, which is kind of crazy. How else could I have drawn it up? Probably this one makes sense. Dignitas, who beat Complexity, lost to Furia, lost to Vitality. Reasonable losses there, I think. Ultimates won their first round matchup as well, and so did GK. I have Ultimates winning Luminosity, losing Falcons, losing this one. I mean, it's crazy teams to end up losing to. And then GK losing to NRG, a crazy loss to Wildcard. We just know that one of those games is going to be in there somewhere where it's like, I can't believe that result. And then a loss to Ultimates is reasonable as well. I feel good about it. All right. Furia Vitality is a crazy matchup. Gingy get the blessing from above, or maybe Secret get the blessing from above here. I think I'm going to go with Gingy in a close one here. Falcons versus Twisted Minds is crazy as well. I'm going to give the edge to Falcons, who know that this is a big series. Excuse me, more stuff on my desk. We all look at that one that Twisted Minds beat them in the grand finals. I think that was more of an aberration than what we're going to see commonly. Let's look at this matchup if we can real quick. Am I blind? Where's Falcons? Are they over here under like Team Falcons? Oh, F. Oh, it's not alphabetized. They're 2-2 against Twisted Minds. They've played them super close. This is in front of the crowd as well. Man, maybe this is a Twisted Minds win here. Really close in our goal differential. Twisted Minds have a huge advantage on the shot differential. How did these teams come in? God, I think I'm going Twisted Minds here. Oh, man. Direct hasn't given us this scored first information yet, which I think is important sometimes. Checkerboard loss to Twisted. A win here. And the Twisted Minds end up bringing this one back. This is that grand finals loss where Falcons go up quick early, and then they end up bleeding all of these when Rise is overseas, and then loss, double. And like, look at these goals for and goals against. Like, this is just a really, really close matchup. This would be huge if Falcons could win this. And I think the fans might be rooting for it as well. We know that this bracket isn't going to be completely chalk, so let's go that way just to make this interesting. Why don't we? Big moment for Rise, who probably at this point is the first to reach 300 games played on LAN. Um, he's in contention for a lot of those. He's leading in a ton of categories. Um, total LAN boy. My worry here is Atomic, just because we've only seen him on LAN once before. But in this matchup in particular, I feel like this is huge. This is the matchup that Twisted Minds would want to get here. Um, and maybe they really put Falcons on their feet. Carmine Core against NRG. Look, NRG could win this. Like, Carmine Core have looked excellent all season long. By this point, like I when we did the Wave Dash top 25, I have NRG placing pretty highly in this in this when I've done the projections before. I think I might have had this exact matchup in the past, and I've given the edge to NRG in one of them, but Carmine the others. This is a huge series for Carmine Core, just because we know, at least for me, one of the first things I think of is the shakiness that we've seen from Atau and Vatira at this land stage. Carmine Core really like to get up and down, can pressure a whole lot. Did we get this matchup last season? I've had so many great matchups that I can't recall, but did these teams play? Let me actually lock into this another way. Let's click on G2, and then let's go to our played matches. And they beat Carmine Core in a close one there. Did they play Carmine Core anywhere else over the season? Are these all alphabetized for by date for us? 2024, it looks like they are. They only played them once, and it was really close. The addition of Drawley is a huge add here. I think I'm going to go Carmine Core in a close one. Fury of Vitality is crazy. We have the connective tissue of, like, Furia versus Zen last season against Vitality. Like, this exact rivalry was huge. And I could totally see Vitality bowing out here. Look at how tough this road is going to be for Vitality. Or Furia, to be honest. And this is probably where it ends. I've had Furia and Vitality top 4 in a lot of mine, but just the way I'm drawing this out now, this projection, I think NRG is going to win either of these matchups that I have them going into next here. This one for Falcons, I think I'm going to go 4-2 for them. A huge result for Gen G. Big boost in their confidence. I think I'm going to have... Oh my gosh. Because this is... Fury do this every time. This is like we're following the formula. They ramp up before the season, or before the lands. They play a ton of rank 2s. They're all highly rated. They're putting in a ton of grinding hours. They dominate the Swiss stage, and then we get here and they look a little shaky. And then I think on the other side, like, this is where this Vitality team have felt really confident in the past. Like, we just saw Monkey Moon and Exotic win the whole thing, because once they get to the land stage, they're so dangerous and they kind of hit this other level. I think I'm just going to give the edge to Vitality, and I feel really bad about it because Furia could win this whole thing. They really could. They're a very good team. This side of the bracket is way harder for me to draw up. This could be a grand finals as well. Getting a semis here is crazy. NRG versus Vitality. We'll call this revenge for NRG. And you can see I'm drawing these up so close. NRG versus Twisted Minds here. A semifinals is a huge stage for Nelpo and Atomic. And I think the stage is too big. I actually think by this point, NRG would run this roster over. Oh, man. This is the first time I've had Twisted Minds in the top 4, by the way. So it's just how it goes when you draw it up, I suppose. Carmine Core versus Falcons is crazy. I'm going to go Carmine Core in a close one. And then, would you look at that? We're back. You know, these never go as we anticipate, right? I think Carmine Corps have been the better team. They really have been. They've been the better team. This is going to be super close. The thing that I'm looking at is like Daniel versus Drawley, or maybe Atomic, or excuse me, maybe Beast Mode. Like really, really has it going. Can we glean anything from our stats here? NRG have not been allowing a lot of goals at all. They're really Carmine Corps are really, really physical as well. But the thing for me, like 25% of NRG's games have gone to overtime, and they've won 52% of those. And again, Carmine Corps have only played 9% of their games in overtime. They've won 71% of those 9 games, but it's only 9 games, you know? And I think the crowd is going to be in NRG's favor here. I'm going to go NRG. I'm going to be a homer. I go 4-2, 4-3, NRG. Look, when I've done these projections, 2 of the times I've actually drawn it 4 ways. This is the first time I've had NRG winning. I've had Carmine Corps win, the first one I did. I've had Falcons win a matchup in the finals against Carmine Corps. And I've also had Vitality win one of these. I'm yet to have Furia win, which is disappointing as I say it. What stands out to me here, this is the first time I've had Secret make a top 8 and how I've drawn this up. This is the first time Twisted Minds have made an upper quarters or a semifinals. So big result for them as I've drawn it up this way. First time for Gen G to make a top 6. First time that Furia have been eliminated this early. Every time I've done this, it's been different. But this is where I've landed. I feel pretty good about it. Let's look at our places. Are they over here? They are. Look at Sam going out right there. That's a bummer for sure. Huge finish for Gen G. I think that this is way higher than I have them projected. It's higher than I have Twisted Minds projected in this for what it's worth. Lower than I have Ultimates and Dignitas projected for sure. Lower than I have Complexity and GK, definitely. But this is how it went. So guys, like, what do you think? I'm interested to hear what you think of my reasoning and how we got here. I'm so excited for Birmingham. I'm so excited. I can't wait. It's going to be such a blast. And maybe we'll lock in and do like some streaming for it. I don't know. I'm saying this out loud. I haven't put any thought into it, but maybe we'll see. So that's it. I'm sure this video is already long. Guys, thank you so much. I am pumped. I hope you are as well. And I will see you on the pitch in just a couple of days here. So until next time, guys, take it easy.